Morning. I'm tired, but it's time to do stuff. So let's make some coffee and get this thing going. One's mostly creamer. You guess. Better. Oh yeah. So today we're switching gears a little bit. One of the last videos you guys saw, we were working on the F100, but today we're gonna do a change of course. Got some parts I still need to get on the Duster, and it's getting crunch time to get one of the more classic vehicles in shape and up to the challenge of being the drive-away vehicle for my wedding, which is in 3 weeks. So we're going to go ahead and start getting to work on the Duster. Off camera the other day, I at least wiped up and vacuumed the interior on the car. I did spray bomb the headliner area with some rust reformer and then a coat of satin black paint just to get it looking a little bit presentable. Eventually we might do a headliner, but for now I just wanted to look up and not see surface rust. So we cleaned it, hit it with the rust reformer to keep it from getting worse, and then paint it over. So that kind of detracts from the eyeballs at least. Today we are going to pull the instrument cluster out. We're going to repaint the bezel around the instrument cluster. We'll see how that turns out. We've got to replace the speedometer cable. And then we're going to see if we can figure out what's going on with the gas gauge, get that working, and then do a good detailing on the interior and clean it up. And that should do it for now for the inside. So that's the plan. I'm going to down the rest of this first cup of coffee, and then we'll dive in.
I'm going to color in a butterfly type thing. Well, it is a butterfly, but I made the wings a little uneven. I was doing this one last night, I think, but it had stuff on the back, so I'm just going to use this for reference to just see what I'm doing a little and hopefully maybe make it not look like there's writing on the back.
Here's the reason we're here today. So we're going to be cleaning the old girl up. And like I said, I wiped down and kind of tried to clean everything the other day, so at least it's somewhat presentable, but it needs another good detailing. And we did hit that roof, which it's hard to see with this really awful lighting, which I'll fix in a minute. But it's not rusty brown, which is nice. So that looks good. We're going to yank that cluster out first and see if we can't spiff it up. You can see by my super clean workbench that I've got the garage really organized lately. But got my fancy paint we're going to end up using for that dash. It's like a fake wood grain on the cluster, and it's all peeling and coming off. So behind it is, the whole thing is basically like that silvery chrome color, but only the outside rim of it stays that color, and then it's got a black painted trim bezel and then the brown wood textured plastic that's supposed to be this color. So we're going to try and clean all that off. She got Satin Leather Brown is the name of the color, which I think will actually match pretty good. So we're going to try and get all that paint off, repaint it like this to get the wood back. I've got some black to do that trim again. And then I'm thinking the silver edge we might be able to just clean. But worst case scenario, I do have some silver spray paint. And you can just hit some of that into like a little cup or something and then take like a foam brush and paint that on. That's the easiest way. Trying to spray it in such a small area, it's so much taping. It'll be easier to just kind of paint the silver at the end. So that's the plan. So we got that. This is my, well, should be. I have not opened it, and I've had it for about, I don't know, 3 months now. This should be the new speedometer cable. Mine is totally separated right where it goes into the cluster. I was able to reach back up there and feel the broken end of it, and someone had actually duct taped the end of it to try and make it, last a little longer, and clearly even that had worn out. So got the correct ends on it, or at least it should be, so it should be just a simple install. Allergy season is upon us. We're going to take the cluster out, try and fish it in from that way, I think. Get it down underneath the car. I'm trying to enjoy the air conditioning as much as possible in the garage for now. But then when we're ready for that step, I'll back it out. We'll throw it on the ramps, get it up on ramps so it's easier to get to, and we'll connect it to the transmission. They got a little grommet here, which is nice, which is probably what wasn't still intact on this that made it fray and come apart. So we're going to do that. We're going to do the paint. Got some other goodies, stereo, stuff like that, but I haven't figured out how I want to do that yet, so we'll probably hold off. I want the dash to look very original in this car. I'm kind of going for a full classic look. It's not a show car, but I want it to be, a nice period correct looking, presentable thing. I thought about putting the CD player in the glove box, which I might still do. I just don't want to look at that nice dash and see this 2010 head unit, I actually had a chance to buy one of my dream cars, which would have been a 67 Mustang, and I came really close to pulling the trigger on it. It was a beautiful car exterior wise, had a fairly refreshed 302 under it. The only things I didn't love about it was automatic, and I prefer a manual, and someone had pulled all the gauges out and put in new digital gauges. The whole cluster had been replaced. And they didn't even keep the same bezels. Like they pulled that whole area out and they put in like one of those, like, looks like that diamond plate, and it had all these new digital gauges in it. And that's honestly the main reason I did not buy that car. It just killed it for me. When I'm sitting behind the wheel, I want to feel like I'm in a 67 Mustang. I don't want to look down and feel like I'm in like a ride at Chuck E. Cheese with all these, new fancy digital gauges. I didn't care for it. So I'm not going to do that on this. I'm going to have that from behind the wheel, that very authentic feel. This car is going to be all about enjoying the drive on the weekends and feeling like I'm in a classic. I'm not going for modern amenities. Look at this. It's like a stage. So it feels way better sitting in this car, just having it wiped down and vacuumed. I mean, this thing was pretty gross. After we did all the other videos, got the interior or the exterior dealt with and mechanicals done, I just started driving this thing, and I never vacuumed, wiped down, did anything to the inside. I just drove it because I was excited, and I didn't realize how gross it was until I started cleaning it. This already is night and day, but we can do more. So the main thing I want to do today is get this dash piece out. You can kind of see over here all that brown paint just flakes off if you just touch it, and it leaves behind this wood grain textured silver plastic. And then now that you guys are in here with our cinema lighting, you can see obviously brown dash pad. It's got that kind of orangey bowling ball outside and a tan interior. I've gone back and forth on the dash. I want to keep it very original looking. Like Like I said, I don't want new looking stuff. But this dash, the paint's not in phenomenal shape. It's got some surface rust starting to poke through and some minor pitting. So it's not, and it's very matte and dulled out. I've actually thought about, while I have the cluster out, pulling the radio, taking off the AC controls, and actually painting the brown, just the metal part of the dash, in like a satin black. Leaving the dash pad brown to kind of tie it in with the fake wood that'll be on the new cluster. But just a satin black look, I think, might really make this dash look a little more the part of the muscle car instead of the part of, like, I don't know, it reminds me of like the Phantom toll booth or something. But once I paint it, there's no going back. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I just clean it up a little more? Maybe clear coat it so it doesn't get rustier and leave it original Survivor brown? Or do we take the time, take the rest of it off, and black this dash out? Either way, it's not getting removed. It would be painted in the car. But it's not a huge area. The only hard part to do in the car is going to be around the column. I guess I could unbolt and drop the column down. I don't know. Gotta clean that side mirror too. So there's our dash and all its peeling glory. Let's see what I mean on that headliner. Your eyes don't just immediately go to it. It's just kind of there, which I like. It's not a perfect job, and the light is going to get harsh as I look to the back because of my spotlight. But especially when that light's not shining on it, you don't even see the blotchiness of my strokes with the can. It's just black. It's just like it's not there. And that's nice because then you can focus on the rest of this. We're going to get seat covers for that. I don't think I'm going to seat cover the back. I think we're just going to try and fix that torn stitching up top, clean it up, and leave the rear because it's actually not in that bad a shape. It just needs to be detailed some more. Front seat, though, we're going to cover. And then, like I said, I don't know. Let me know. What do you think? Black dash? The more I look at it, the more I think black dash. But will that clash with all the tan? Or will it make it blend in more? I don't know. Help me out. Alright, let's see how easy this thing comes off. Got an assortment of screwdrivers here. Thought I could tilt it, pitch it just enough, but no dice, so drop steering column. Something in that variety pack should work. I'm going to throw you on the other side so you can see without me blocking the view. If my allergy, sniffling, runny nose right at this microphone bothers you as much as it bothers me, I apologize. Pollen season here in Florida. It's not my favorite time of year. Backyard looks nice and cool with everything blooming, but it is very not wonderful to be outside. Alright, so we're 7/16 for that bolt on the side. None of the bulbs on this were lit up, so I don't know if that's something wrong with the bulbs the cluster or the wiring, so that's also something I want to try and troubleshoot while we're in here. And she's free, so this is what I was wrestling with on the back. This bulb, which at first glance appears to be good. And so we're going to clean the back of this board up as well. The headlight switch we know was working. The wiper switch works, but the wiper motor is disconnected up at the engine bay. So we're going to clean her up, but she's out and she's free. All we had to do is drop the column down a little bit to gain access. Wiper arm has been disconnected too, and it was in the back seat. Part of it's right here. So maybe while we have open access here, maybe we reconnect that as well. Because, you know. Or maybe we just drive it on sunny days. What I would normally do. So you can see, this is the other end of our speedo cable. It's got a hose clamp that they were trying to hold this amazingly, still hanging on but super frayed end on, that was just doing absolutely nothing. So that's what we came here to get and collect. We'll probably just pop that grommet out, snake it through this way, pull it in from the cab. There's a mouse house back in here. Nice pile right there. You can probably kind of see it. All of our other connections and ends look okay. 2 lamps, 12 volts, DOT flasher relay. I wonder why it's got so many flasher relays. There's 3 flasher relays on this thing. Doesn't that seem excessive to you? Seems like a lot to me. What do I know? Here's what we came for. There's our dash, instrument cluster. Let's get her cleaned up, pop her back in. Alright, we're sanding this bad boy down. Actually, we're using steel wool to start. This is just double aught, so it's fairly aggressive. Taking off all this loose stuff. A lot more of this was flaking than it even looked like in the car. I've already given that kind of a once over. I just figured I'd show you guys. I'm just going around hitting everything. Our first base coat of paint is going to be the black, so we're not going to tape off anything. We're going to black the whole thing. And then once that dries, then we'll tape off. Then we'll do the brown. And then we'll paint on our silver around the rings and around the trim. If you want to know if your partner is watching your YouTube videos, take one of your crusty old car parts and put it on your couch and tape that and see if anybody says anything. So what we really need, I guess, is to just tape. We really just need to tape the glass because we want the black surrounds to get painted. You don't want to overspray from your paint on anything that you're trying to tape off, but especially when it's, the thing that tells you how fast you're going. That's pretty important usually. Got her all taped off. Even filled the tiny little holes. This is the important one. Got the round gauges done pretty good. Some of it overlaps onto the trim around the edge, but that's okay. I'd rather have the blacks overlap than have black on the gauge. So that's going to work just fine. I even taped over, there's a little thing that says unleaded fuel only right here, which I thought was kind of a cool little thing. And it's cut at like 45s. So I've got that kind of mocked up so when I shoot it, it'll leave that sticker behind. And now we're ready to fog it with the first coat of paint, which is going to be the black. All right, painting time. We should be masked off everywhere we need to be. Like I said, I'm not worried about the silver. We're going to redo that anyway. Not worried about the brown. We're going to redo that anyway. So we can just get it. Coat 1, done. Coat 2. All right, good morning. So the next day, we let our paint cure overnight on the dash, and she's looking real nice. Actually looks really good. I did a satin, so it's got some gloss, but it's not out of control. So I don't think it'll be too much glare on the edges when I'm driving, and it's more forgiving on any kind of like, you know, mistakes on the paint. So it actually looks really good, looks really even. We went ahead, we masked off, obviously the other day, remember, we masked off all of the gauges and blacked the entire thing. So that takes care of all the trim under here. Also in between these two top and bottom bars, which will be painted silver, it's black in between those. So it's easier to do the whole thing, give it all one shot. But now we need to tape off around the gauges and tape off around this part that's going to be silver and hit this part here in the brown. So we're going to leave the tape we already have on and add even more to it to mask everything off and get ready to give ourselves some wood grain look. So we're going to go ahead and work on that right now. A little coffee, a little masking tape. Alright, got her all taped up. Gauges are covered. I tried to cover the inside of the bezels of the gauges to leave them black. It should be black on the inside face of the gauges, black on this trim that goes around here, black on the overhang, the cover underneath here, and then all of this should be brown, and then these ringlets around all the gauges. I didn't tape those because it doesn't matter because we haven't painted those yet. They will be silver. So we should be good with this second application of tape now. We'll hit the brown, and then after that all the tape comes off, and then we paint our silver trim. Alright, give it a little brown.
I'm excited.
Kid next door got a dirt bike, I guess, for his birthday. Pretty much all you hear like every afternoon. Alright, let's see.
I'm ready.
Coat 1.
I can go so high. Watch this.
Do a little swinging while we're
5 seconds.
waiting on it to dry.
Woo.
Oh man, maxing that thing out.
It's got a crack over there, so I don't really
Yeah, it'll be fine. So that was our single coat just to get things started, tack it up. Looks pretty good. All right, time for coat number 2. So remember, you don't want to hold it too close. You want to be like no closer than this, okay?
Okay.
Don't get it all the way up here. You want to hold it like right here. And then you want to kind of go pss, pss, pss. Go ahead. Let go. You got to let go in between. Look,
Okay.
like I was doing, you got to go. Use your thumb. Here you
Ow, ow, ow.
go. All right, coat 2 done.
Yay!
While that one's drying.
Go!
Whoa!
One more. There. Right there.
Ninja. Yard's looking a little worse for wear. Should be cutting it today, getting rid of all these weeds, but yeah. All this is getting torn out soon anyway, because coming up soon, and I'll probably do some video on it. This is where our fancy above ground was. That's getting all yanked up, and we are putting in a real deal pool this year. So soon we're going to be bringing in the equipment and grading all this out, taking out this tree on the right. It's pretty well dead. I like this one on the left, so we're going to keep it. We're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of the maple and grading all this out, and we'll have a pool coming soon. Fourth, final coat. So, upon much thought and debate, I have made a decision. I think the brown dash must go. I've been kind of weighing whether to keep it brown, paint it black, clean it up, clear coat it, and ultimately I was going back and forth, and I think the main reason for keeping it was twofold. One, obviously it's simpler, less work, and two, I was thinking keep it more original. But I mean, let's get real. This car, while it is all original, is far from a show car. It's not well optioned enough to probably ever become a show car for the next owner. If you're really going to sink all the money you would want to in something like this to make it real nice, it would need to be a V8 car at the least. Probably manual trans. I mean, this is your very vanilla, I guess we'll say, Duster. So I don't see any reason not to make it the way I want it, as opposed to the way that it originally came. I think the enjoyment I'll get out of it has a higher value than the resale of this car will have all original. So I'm going to go ahead and start taping off this dash. It really shouldn't take much. I'm not pulling the dash. I'm not going through all that. I'm just going to tape off the dash pad because I'm not going to paint it. I'm going to leave it brown. So it's going to go brown, black, which I think will be nice with the cluster with the wood and the black. And it's got the tan interior. I think the black will fit in, but I think it'll look nicer. And it'll look a little bit more muscly. But today we're going to go ahead and deep clean this thing. And then go ahead and tape her off, prep her for paint, and I think we at least get her primed today. So that's the plan. I really like the looks of the Duster. I've always thought they were pretty cool. I think they're a fairly underrated car from that kind of muscle car era. So for that, I love it. This one though, being the slant 6, being the 3-speed automatic, being all that it is not much of a performance-minded vehicle. It's honestly pretty snail pace driving it, but I mean it is comfortable to drive, so I like it for that. It's a good highway cruiser. It actually runs out at a fairly low RPM, cruising at like 65, 70 miles an hour, which a lot of cars from this era aren't great highway cruisers because of the gearing. They just weren't designed to go that fast all the time. A lot of these cars were made when highway speeds were 55 miles an hour, right? That's why a lot of times you see that little red mark on the speedometer. This one has no problem with that. Pollen's still high today. But so it's a love-hate. I have a cross member to convert this thing to a V8 car. It came with it when I bought it. But that's a lot of work and a lot of money, honestly. And unless you're just working on a car that you absolutely love, you're not going to get the value out of that, you know? And unless it's just something that you're emotionally attached to or planning to keep forever, it's not a wise investment. And let's be honest, I like this car, but I don't know that I love this car. And I've been doing these little YouTube videos for what, year now? And you've probably seen what, 5, 6 different vehicles I've bought as projects and tinkered on and then sold. And that's just a small snippet of my sordid car collection career. I used to have a spreadsheet. I've probably had nearly, I don't know, 40, 50 cars over the years, and every one of them I enjoyed for different reasons. Every one of them I hated for different reasons. This one's no different. This is not going to be a car that at least I don't think, will be handing down to anyone in my decrepit old age and post-mortem last will and testament. I just don't see that happening. I predict this one will be around a little while because I have not put a lot of money into it, but I put a lot of sweat equity into this thing. And for the effort I've put in, I feel like I owe it to myself to keep it a little longer. But she ain't going to be around forever. That's why everything I've done, I've kind of started off cheap and then slowly upgraded and made things nicer as I went. There's no reason to drop a ton of coin on something that you're only going to keep for a few months. That's why when I did the shocks, I bought the cheapest shocks I could. They're new and they ride good, but I didn't spend $500 on the nicest suspension I could to get the best possible ride for years and years and years that'll last, because it's not going to be in my garage for years and years. It's going to last as long as I need it to, and it's still going to be in solid shape and well cared enough for the next guy that gets it. So that's kind of where I'm at on this thing. I do want it to be something I'm proud of when I drive it, but I also don't want to spend, $10,000 getting it perfect. This perfect is never going to be something this car will ever be described as, and I'm okay with that. And I've made my peace with that. If somebody wanted a perfect vehicle, they would find a different platform with which to start from than this one. Although this car is very clean, fairly low miles, and all original. So all in all, it really is a nice vehicle. It's just, it's not going to concours or anything like that, right? But that's okay. For me, that's okay. There might be somebody out there that's like, oh, this looks just like the very first car I ever had. This is, my dream car. I've always wanted one that color, or, my first car was that color, or, who knows. I suppose there's somebody out there that could be drooling over this thing. But I think those are the minority. So I think this car's best purpose is to just be as fun as possible for as long as possible. I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can, get as much value out of it as I can, and then hopefully pass it on to someone else who will appreciate it down the line. All right, she is all sanded. Did an initial wipe down. Now I'm going to hit it with a nice microfiber rag and some prep all to really make sure it's good and cleaned up. Make sure there's no leftover grease, dirt, anything that's going to keep this paint from sticking. This is an area where prep really is important. You want your dashboard to look nice. You look at it a lot when you're in a car. So we're just going to give her a good spritz in everywhere and wipe her down. All taped off and ready for paint. All right. We got you live there in the back. Got the primer. This is going to be our first coat. We are ready to go to town on this bad boy. Try and lay in our chrome back in. Get some metallic finish. They call it aluminum, but basically chrome colored paint. I'm going to shoot it directly into the cap, and then I'm going to take a little foam brush, attempt to paint it on and see how it does. Spray a little in there.
Isn't that Kayla's brush?
No, this one's mine.
Okay. Kayla has brushes that look similar.
Yeah, it's actually working really well.
Yay!
Look at that. Even before touch-ups, that looks phenomenal. We're gonna touch up the spots where the silver overran, but man, looks like a brand new gauge set. Man, this thing really did come out amazing. We got our dash all put back together. Glove box installed. I left the trim around the knob unpainted on purpose, just to give it a little bit more of that two-tone to tie in the dash pad. I think that really looks pretty sharp. Our gauge set. Let me come around that other side so you can see that. Look at that. That thing came out excellent. Cannot beat it. What do you think?
I like it.
So that really came out looking good. I mean, that dash makes it look like a totally different car. It really does spruce up the interior a lot. I think it makes it look a little bit sportier with the blackout treatment on the dash. I'm very happy with the results, and honestly, I think total cost on that was for just the fit and finish stuff, was like 12 bucks in spray paint. Speedometer cable was probably the most expensive part we put on in this video. I did run that, snuck it underneath, didn't record it, you didn't miss much. Did that, also changed out the all the light bulbs, and more importantly, and I'll put a link in the description, the little inserts in the cluster that hold the light bulbs. Those were all broken, and they weren't making strong enough contact because they were too weak with the tabs broken off in the back of the cluster. Put all those on, and now we got dash lights. So this thing is a major improvement, even with the speedo cable and the light bulbs and the little inserts for those. Total cost was like 50 bucks. Can't beat that kind of outcome for 50 bucks. Man, look at that. All the silver around the gauges came out real nice. Around the speedometer cable works now. You might not be able to see it too good since we're in the garage, but we got lightage going on in there. She's ready for a ride now.
It's car amazing. Ha ha.
Look at that. That is a great looking dash. It's a great looking cockpit. Makes me feel a whole lot better being in the driver's seat. And yours can look like that too for really not much. For a total of about $12 in spray paint, one weekend worth of time, and a little bit of effort. And you can spiff up your old turd too. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit of detail time on the Duster. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Might as well. What's it gonna hurt? But hey, appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Will we do more stuff?